And I'm giving an informative speech on social engineering. Have you ever wondered how protected your private information was? What happens to the data collected from consumers by companies? What is social engineering? How is it done? What are the potential outcomes? Social engineering is a manipulation of individuals due to human vulnerability in order to steal confidential and private information. Almost everyone has private information, and certain avenues that make social engineering easy, like phone numbers, email, social media, bank account, and social security numbers. We are going to go over how social engineering is done and the probable negative ways attackers can get information. There are 5 types of social engineering: phishing, spear phishing, baiting, watering hole attack, and quid pro quo. Phishing is done primarily through emails. Clicking on emails that originate from fraudulent scammers allows to take advantage of unsuspecting individuals. In order to steal the breadcrumb of private information they left behind, this is the most common and effective method of social engineering. The second type of social engineering is spear phishing, which is specifically tailored emails to a targeted person. This method is hard and requires extensive research on the individual. A perfectly tailored email can deceive a company's firewalls and leave client information and company information vulnerable. The third type of social engineering is baiting, which is typically comprises of false promises that allude to a trade for information. This attack is commonly associated with fake advertisements on the dark web. The fourth type of social engineering is the watering hole attack, which enables attackers to think of frequently visited websites. It can compromise the site, allowing an opportunity to fake a web portal to steal information, and is very hard to detect. The fifth and final type of social engineering is quid pro quo. Using random calls and researched information can allow scammers to use fictitious scenarios in order to steal data or money. Typical things that make a person vulnerable to social engineering are being easily manipulated, insufficient cybersecurity, and lack of training. Consequences of social engineering include financial bankruptcy, loss of identity and associated accounts, and allowing the spread of malware. All in all, social engineering in the wrong hands can be used in multiple ways to take advantages of human psychology and result in detrimental effects on many aspects of someone's life.
In order to visually showcase how social engineering works, here is a diagram of the typical life cycle. The very beginning starts with an investigation, which is the research phase on the specific target. Next, we see the engaging stage, where the main goal is to establish a foothold and take control of the interaction. After having establishing a strong foothold, the third phase marks the initial start of the attack, which can be any of the 5 types of social engineering, which are phishing, spear phishing, watering hole attack, quid pro quo, and baiting. Once the needed information is acquired, the next step is to close the interaction, cover all tracks, and raise no suspicion, while quietly leaving in search for the next victim to start the process all over again.
Traditional hacking aims to compromise the security settings of IT systems and applications. Social engineering attackers attempt to exploit the users of these technologies by claiming to be employees, vendors, or support personnel to try to trick the workers. People are trusting and willing to help others, and the attackers use that to their advantage by deceiving users into revealing information that compromises data security. Traditional protection from malware and viruses will not protect you from a social engineering attack. Once they gather bits and pieces of the organization, they'll be able to put the puzzle together and exploit the business. One technique is phishing emails, which are typically the most successful form of social engineering. This is where hackers will send out emails to their victims in hopes of gaining sensitive information by tricking them into clicking a malicious link, giving the hacker access to information. Another technique is physical breaches. This is where the hacker does an impersonation of someone else in order to gain access to a secure location. Attackers can also use the technique of pretext calling. This is where an attacker makes up a scenario to obtain the information they need. Pretext calling often requires trust to be formed between the attacker and the victim. Don't be fooled by social engineering tactics. Be sure to train employees to follow safe security measures in the event of an attack. Employees should always be cautious when sharing personal information on social media platforms. Never open an email that looks suspicious or let a stranger connect to your wireless network. Don't give strangers personal information until you can verify where they are calling from. Review security policies to stay up to date with the latest